Hey there, how are you? We welcome you to the show. If you don't like that, I hope you had a chance to watch the King's Court with Rhino earlier. We've got the NBA, we've got the NHL, and the NFL draft on Thursday. So finally, we're getting around to the NFL draft as we get towards the end of April. And it's going to be very interesting as there's a wide range of opinion on some of the top picks in the draft. And so it's going to be interesting to see, 1 and 2, and then what the Giants would do with 3 since they went out and got Wilson and Winston as quarterbacks. Would they take a quarterback if it was there at 3? And then the draft really starts. So that's coming up on Thursday. NBA, the Pistons even up the series against the Knicks with a low-scoring game, 100-94. The Pistons had a big lead, and the game was kind of going back and forth. The Knicks came back, and then Dennis Schroeder, after a big Knicks run, hit the really big three with just over 30 seconds left in the fourth, and the Pistons hold on and win 100-94. The other game, the Clippers and the Nuggets separated by a point with 3 minutes left to go in the first half. Denver won game 1, so we get you caught up. Hockey, Alex Ovechkin, who's had just a storybook career, did something he's never done in his illustrious career, and that was score a overtime winner in the postseason. He did that tonight as the Caps beat the Canadiens. I love watching Stanley Cup hockey, and I would just tell you that I've been watching a lot of hockey. I don't miss Stanley Cup hockey, and when I mean I don't miss it, I watch it. If there's any other sporting event on, I'm going to watch hockey. I love it. To me, there's nothing better than Stanley Cup hockey, and I am all over it, and I can't get enough of it. Give me more. Give me more hockey. I'll watch a playoff hockey game over pretty much anything else. To me, it is great. It is absolutely great. I love it. I am addicted to it, and I love this time of year for Stanley Cup hockey. All right. So, in the last hour, the Kings have officially announced that Scott Perry is the Sacramento Kings' new general manager, and that will be coming up in a press conference Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. All right? If at Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock, he announces that Doug Christie is the new head coach, I am telling you right now, on April 21st of 2025, I'm telling you that this will be a disaster with a capital D. This will also signal to you, as a Sacramento Kings fan, that the general manager is coming in with very little power. That's what it would tell you. All right? So, I don't know what's going to happen on Wednesday, but that's what I think is going to happen on Wednesday. What I know and what I think are two different things. So let's talk about Scott Perry. I met Scott Perry back in 2017. He was in Sacramento for a couple of months before he left to go to New York. I don't want to make it sound like I'm best friends with Scott Perry and I know Scott and blah, blah, blah. I know him. He knows me. We've talked. I had lunch with him. But, I'm not going to make it sound like I'm an expert on Scott Perry. Here's what I do know about Scott Perry. Before he got into the NBA, he was the head coach of Eastern Kentucky for 3 years. His record in 3 years as a head coach was 19-61. All right? Entering the 2021 NBA season, Scott Perry as an executive in the front office, either as general manager or assistant GM, call it whatever title you want, had no winning seasons. None. Zero. Won 500 season and a lifetime winning percentage of 328. 328. He will be named the Kings' new general manager Wednesday at 10 a.m. If Scott Perry talks about Doug Christie as being the head coach, that tells you all you need to know about this hire. Because I said this last week, and I'm going to say it again. Not one of 30 teams in the NBA, if they all had coaching vacancies, would interview Doug Christie for their head coaching job. That's number one. Number two, if Scott Perry were given complete control of the team, there is not a chance in the world that his head coach would be Doug Christie. Third, and I said this last week, and I'm going to say it again, there is no chance for a professional sports organization to be successful unless the general manager and the head coach are aligned at the hip, they are in lockstep, and everything else. Cannot happen. And it will not happen. So here we go. Here we go. You know, this is not like give someone a chance. The team just needs more talent to win. This isn't what pro sports is about. You don't just give someone a chance. Come on now. Patrick says, I'll take your word, Grant, on Perry. It's not facts are facts. The numbers don't lie. That's not an opinion. I read you factual information. I didn't give you an opinion. I just gave you facts. All right? I just gave you facts. I have spoken with many people in the past 4 days about Scott Perry that know Scott a lot better than I do. I've spoken with people that are extremely credible, like top shelf credible, much more credible than I am on this subject, who know things that I have no way of knowing, who have contacts that are even better than mine, and I have many contacts in the NBA. And I'm just telling you right now, today, that if Scott Perry and Doug Christie are your team going forward, things will get worse. They will not get better. I'm telling you that on April 21st, 2025. You got the link in the show description there. You've got an ability to call me. It's right there on the chat line. You got the link. Give me a call. Call me now, and we'll talk about this. I'm not anti-Scott Perry. I'm not saying that Scott Perry is a terrible choice. I'm just saying this will not work. That's what I'm saying. Under the scenario that I laid out. That's what I'm saying. I am saying that Scott Perry's track record is certainly nothing that would get me excited. After my conversations with the people that have a hell of a lot more information than I do, I'm very skeptical, to say the least. Obviously, James, we can visit this 12 months from now, and yes, I could be right or wrong, but I'm going to be right. Why do I say things will get worse if Doug is hired? Because that is that is forced upon your general manager who's coming in instead of allowing him to hire who he wants. So right off the bat, it's not going to work because it's not who the general manager wants as head coach. Because I'm not stupid, and you shouldn't be stupid either. If you think that Scott Perry would take the job as the Sacramento Kings general manager and have full autonomy to hire who he wanted, and he would hire Doug Christie, then you're delusional. You're delusional. I mean, let's get serious here. You're delusional. We'll find out, hopefully sooner rather than later. I just don't think Doug's ready for the position. And I do know that it's not even a matter of whether he's really even ready or not, although I don't think he is. You can't force a coach upon an incoming general manager. It just doesn't work. It just does not work. Plain and simple. Does not work. All right, again, if you want to call the show, do so. Tony hit it right on the head. Vivek is in control of everything. Yes, he is. What do I have for a letter grade for Keegan Murray after year 3? Great question. I'd give him a B. He's still too inconsistent offensively for me. Defensively, I mean, I like the way he brings it every night. I know that we have discussed this with Jerry and Rhino about his role offensively and how it's difficult with Sabonis and LaVine and DeRozan, but I'm not an excuse guy. I'm a productivity guy, and I am a either make your shot guy or miss your shot guy. And for that reason, I'm giving him a B. For that reason. So I think he has a very good ceiling. I love his motor. I like a lot of things about him. I also believe he is much more part of the future than not. Now, there's something else I want to say about Scott Perry. He will be highly applauded after his press conference on Wednesday by those in the media and on social media because he's very good in front of a microphone and he's very good in being a salesman. That's his strength. Pete D'Alessandro was like that too. No, I'm not comparing him to Pete D'Alessandro in terms of general manager skills. I'm talking about in terms of the way they come across. Actions to me speak louder than words. You know, he's got a mess on his hands that he has to fix. And I also want to see how Scott Perry is going to answer his criticism that he had on ESPN, I believe it was, recently, talking about Zach LaVine, talking about how he's never been on a winning team and he's only been in one playoff series and that he doesn't make teams better and blah, blah, blah. I want to hear how he answers that question. I want to hear that. All right? I want to hear that. He's got a lot. Listen, he's not inheriting a great situation. He's just not. And it's going to be very interesting to see who's on this roster come October. Going to be very interesting. Going to be very interesting indeed. Jeff Van Gundy, there's no chance Jeff Van Gundy would come to Sacramento. Stop this with this nonsense. Please. Unbelievable. Why would you think Jeff Van Gundy would come to Sacramento? Really? I'm a big Terry Stotts fan. I think he would be tremendous. Big Terry Stotts fan. I'm a big fan of Terry Stotts. I believe that the Kings will be a non-playoff team next year. I'm making that statement on April 21st of 2025 without even knowing what the roster is going to look like. What did I think of the Giants not keeping Saquon Barkley? I didn't have a problem with it. He wasn't going to be that big of a difference for the Giants. The Giants had too many problems, and I didn't see it happening. So I'm happy for him. Let's get to some more messages here. Talking about Keegan Murray. Well, I don't know why you agree with me. You said, I agree, Grant. I don't like excuses. I don't think Murray's ceiling is that high anymore. I thought after year one, Murray would be an all-star. I don't feel that way anymore. Well, I'm not making an excuse. Well, I know you're saying two different things there. I do think his ceiling is high. I don't know if it's all-star high, but you can still have a high ceiling without being an all-star. Correct? I'm not saying he'll be an all-star, but I think his ceiling is high. All right? I do. PK says, if Sabonis is gone, this is 3-year rebuild for the playoffs. I don't disagree with that. Nothing will change. Kings will continue to be run the same. Patrick hit it right on the head. There's a lot of qualified candidates out there to be Sacramento coach to just give it to Doug. 100%. Patrick, do you think my Raiders will be a playoff team next season? Patrick, did you buy the Raiders? Congratulations as the owner. Good luck on that. No, I do not. How long do you think it will take to announce the new head coach? I'll lose faith for next season if it's Doug Christie. Kings fans need something to hope for. Well, Sherry, thank you very much for chiming in. I believe that we'll know on Wednesday. I think that will be the first question that's asked of Scott Perry. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you chiming in. Who's worse, Jordan as owner or Vivek? Michael Jordan was a complete failure in Charlotte. I think we could say that. Complete failure. In terms of who's worse, I mean, Jordan didn't do anything there. Would I trade for Trae Young? No, I would not. I'm not a Trae Young fan. I think he's a very difficult guy to play with. I don't think he's great in the locker room, and I'm not a big Trae Young fan. So no, I would not. I would not. But I think we all know the Kings are going to need a point guard, someone that they don't have right now. That's for sure. All right, again, the Pistons beat the Knicks earlier 100-94 at the half. The Clippers lead Denver 55-52, trying to even up that series at a game apiece. Kawhi Leonard went off in the first half, 9 of 10 floor for 21 points. He was the man on the floor. Meanwhile, for the Denver Nuggets, Jamal Murray, the only one in double figures with 12. Jokic had 8 points and 4 rebounds. Did Grant just say Michael Jordan was a complete failure? Yes, I did. As the owner of the Charlotte franchise, yes, 100% complete failure. That's why Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley aren't friends anymore, because of Charles making the same comments that I just made. I mean, if you don't think so, you're not dealing with reality. You're just not dealing with reality if you don't agree with that. It's also a very difficult place. If you're mediocre in that city, which is just a huge, huge college basketball area, it's like the Pelicans in New Orleans. It's all college football. They don't care about basketball. They don't care about the NBA in New Orleans. You know, in order to be really relevant, you got to be good in Charlotte. I mean, really good. And that has not been the case with Charlotte. And they have, I mean, I remember when I used to go to Charlotte when they had an expansion franchise and the place was packed and it was great. But then it's been a long while since they've been relevant. Been a long, long time. Grant, MJ is a box office and 6-time champion. He's regarded as the GOAT. Show some respect. Hey, DJ Vines, what is wrong with you? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, do you only hear what you want to hear? Like, what's your problem? Seriously, what's your problem? He was horrible, awful owner in Charlotte. Awful. With a capital A. Did I say even one word about Jordan as a player? Did you even hear me mention any of his playing days with the Bulls? Did I even mention Chicago? Didn't even mention it. Go away, would you please? Come back another night. Unbelievable. Charlotte is an amazing place to live in. I love Charlotte. It's one of my favorite places to go to. It's a great area. City is tremendous. Beautiful. Great location. I love Charlotte. It is a great place to live in. I've heard nothing but great things from people that live in North Carolina and the Charlotte area. Love it. Close, right on the South Carolina border. You've got all the options of the golf and beauty and not too far from the coastline. I'd love it. Absolutely. The letter grade for the Kings season is a big F. It's crazy how Kings were the 3rd seed a couple of years ago to this mess now. It was a complete failure. A complete failure. 100% failure. All right, let's check in with Michael quickly.
I will soon. How are you doing, Grant?
How are you?
Doing great. I think the Kings, as you said about the GM, the hiring, keeping Doug Christie, I think you might be spot on us because I remember the Raiders when they had Tom Telesco and what's that, Antonio Pierce their first year. You were, I think you taught. I think I know what you mean. It didn't pull out the result what I hoped for. We were 4-13. What are your thoughts about Pete Carroll, though, about being with the Raiders?
I think Pete Carroll is the best hire that the Raiders have made as a head coach in a
Oh,
long
wow.
time. Best.
Oh.
He's a proven coach.
Players coach.
He's just a proven football coach. I mean, I
Wow.
think Pete Carroll's the best hire that they've made in a long time. And if they draft
wow.
they have a chance to move up the ladder. But they're in a brutal division with Denver, last year showing their improvement. And as long as Patrick Mahomes is playing, the Chiefs are going to be very, very good. And then you have the Chargers who, I mean, you look at their talent and they look like they're heading in the right direction. But the Raiders are still the 4th team in that division.
But you see them head in the right direction now.
Well, I think having Pete Carroll is a big first step. Big step for them. Big step.
So, who do you think King should hire as a head coach? Should it be Terry Stotts or Mark Jackson? I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't hire Mark Jackson, but I think there are a lot of very, very well experienced, qualified coaches. But to me, the only coach that I would hire is somebody that is in lockstep with Scott Perry, that has experience, that knows Scott, that wants to work with Scott, that they feel that they can do this together as a team. They have to be completely one. You can't. You have to have that relationship between general manager and head coach. It has to be there.
Okay, like the Pistons, though they had JB Bickerstaff. I think the Pistons won one example. By the way, what a season for Pistons! They just won a game.
Incredible. Yeah.
They weren't even supposed to be. It was supposed to be a rebuilding year for the Pistons, but
I mean,
my goodness, 44 wins.
44 wins from 17 wins. That's pretty impressive.
17. Oh yeah, 17 wins. That's like 27 game improvement.
Yeah.
Last time I saw that kind of big improvement was the Celtics. Go back to that 08. They were that good.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, Michael, good hearing from you as always, buddy. Thank you very much. Take care.
You too, Grant.
Thank you. Appreciate you chiming in and taking the time to call the show. What's the worst NBA city? It depends on how you define worst, but in terms of being there, it's Memphis, and to me, it's not even close. Downtown Memphis is sad. Very sad. I mean, have you been to downtown Memphis? Wow. Just awful. All right. Hey, don't forget about New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. They're available around the clock 24/7 for your plumbing needs and repairs. Just call the number on your screen or go to sackserviceplumbing.com or newworksplumbing.com, NEWWRXplumbing.com. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. Give them a call for your plumbing needs and repairs. You will not be disappointed. Just for the record, to make sure I'm not being misconstrued here, I hope that it does work for Scott Perry and the Kings. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it does work. I hope that you as Kings fans start a new era of excitement and playoff basketball. I hope I'm wrong. But if they announce on Wednesday that Scott Perry is going to have Doug Christie as the new coach, I'm sorry. Not going to work. Not going to work. Some of my buddies are saying Vivek is Jerry Jones. I don't agree. Jones has been very competitive as the owner of the Cowboys. Well, first of all, Jerry Jones has been phenomenal for the National Football League. He's been a great owner in terms of business for the National Football League. In terms of running the franchise, he's been horrible. In terms of running the Cowboys, I'm not talking about making money now. I'm talking about wins and losses and personnel decisions. He's been awful. Awful. I mean, terrible. Used to travel to New Orleans frequently. That place is sketchy. You can't compare New Orleans to Memphis because New Orleans is one of the top tourist destinations in America. Nobody goes to Memphis on vacation. Nobody. So you can't compare the two. I don't know of anybody that says, hey, I'm taking my wife and my family or my husband and my family or my significant other or my friends and we're going to Memphis. Nobody goes to Memphis on vacation. Nobody goes to, come on. And, New Orleans is sketchy. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but there's zero comparison. Grant, last year, Penix Jr. and Bo Nix were projected as back-end round one picks. Instead, they went 8 and 12. Well, it just goes to show you that a lot of the people that evaluate the draft don't know what the hell they're talking about. That's what it shows you. Plain and simple. Do I think that a change of scenery helped Davion Mitchell in Miami? Kind of wish the Kings kept him on the roster. You got to remember, he went from Sacramento to Toronto, then went to Miami this year. I just think that he was starting to come on at the end of last year in the final 2 months. And that's really the Davion Mitchell in year 3 that you were hoping to see a little bit earlier, but it took him a while, which is why I say point guards need 3 years to develop. Miami doesn't win that game. They don't win the play-in game without Davion Mitchell. He was outstanding. You saw what he did in overtime, both on offense and defense. He was tremendous. He's been a huge benefit for them since they picked him up from Toronto. And I'll tell you, Devin Carter's got a long way to go before he's Davion Mitchell. Got a long way to go. Like a long way. And I think he could get there, by the way. I'm not saying that he can't. I'm just saying he's got a ways to go. Milwaukee's the worst place to be in terms of being in the winter and being stranded in your hotel, because if you go outside, you're going to die because you're going to freeze to death. Big difference. My thoughts on the Knicks Pistons series so far. The Pistons probably should be up 2 games. They had that big lead in game 1. I think it goes the distance, and I think the Knicks will win the series. I to be honest, I've been watching hockey all weekend. I haven't watched a lot of the NBA. Oklahoma City is the most boring NBA city. Totally disagree. Bricktown is excellent, not boring at all. Memphis doesn't have that, and I don't have to worry, about getting killed going to Bricktown in Oklahoma City. So I disagree with you about it being boring. There's a lot of things to do in that area, and the Mickey Mantle's restaurant there is one of my favorite restaurants in all of the circuit. It's great, love it. So I disagree with you. I'm not saying Oklahoma City's great, but in terms of boring, I like Bricktown. I think it's excellent. Warriors, this roster and play can win the NBA Finals 2025 ? Let's not get carried away after one game. I'll just say that. Could they beat Oklahoma City? I mean, I guess they could. I wouldn't pick them to, but I wouldn't count them out right now. That's for sure. I will never understand not playing Davion in Game 7 against the Warriors. I won't either. Didn't make any sense. Did not make any sense. If the Kings get like the 13th or 14th pick, we can get a quality bench player. They don't keep their pick if it's 13 or 14. You're aware of that, right? They lose their pick. And the Kings have a 3% chance of keeping their pick. And if that happens, you'll be very, very, very happy because that means they'll be a top 4. That's the only way the Kings can keep their first round pick. They got to win the lottery. How does Sacramento rate Grant? Not very well. Very low on the places to visit for an NBA player. It's one of the worst places for an NBA player to come. I love watching Canadian fans and American fans try to one-up each other in hostility during the NHL playoffs. It's pretty amazing tonight. Pretty amazing tonight. Watching the Nuggets and the Clippers is like watching a heavyweight boxing match. I miss Mickey Mantle, his restaurant in New York City in Central Park. I'd only been there one time. Sacramento sucks. Downtown's an issue. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. No question. You have to be from Sac to appreciate it. But I think we're talking about downtown Sacramento. I love living in Sacramento. I've been very open about that. But I would never live in downtown Sacramento. Never. But that's just my opinion. A lot of people live there, and I'm sure they have a different opinion than I. But I wouldn't live there. I would not. But I would go to Bennett's on Fair Oaks and Howe in a heartbeat. That's for sure. All right? Love Bennett's. Love talking about them. Love eating at their restaurants, whether it's the West Side Grill in Rockland, the location in Sacramento or Roseville, Prime Seafood and Steaks. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com to make a reservation. That's Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Make a reservation, and we'll see you at Bennett's. First thing I do when I go to Sacramento, I always make sure I'm at Bennett's, and I normally go to all 3 locations over the span that I'm in Sacramento. The A's don't have any 40 million players. Do they even have a $40 million payroll? I mean, no, they don't. Oh. Have you been out to any A's games? I'm just curious. How's that going for you? Do NBA players really go out when they were in New York, LA, Miami, even the night before games? Some do, some don't. I would say those 3 cities, more yes than no. More yes than no. Things have changed a lot with the advent of camera phones. They've changed a lot. You saw what happened to DeMar DeRozan the other night. Players just try to avoid that because there are a lot of sickos out there. And there are a lot of people that are looking for a quick cash grab. And players try to avoid those situations. But a player doesn't want to feel like they're in jail, and a player wants to be able to go out and go to a restaurant or go out and do what he wants without being harassed. And unfortunately, because of the sickos in our society, it's very difficult to do. Very difficult to do. Best playoff atmosphere, NBA arenas to me. Oracle was there. Arco was clearly there, those two. Salt Lake City was there, 3. The old Chicago Stadium, 4, but that might have been 1. Dallas had a great playoff atmosphere. Great. Those are some. I've never been to Madison Square Garden for a NBA playoff game, but for hockey, many games, and that would be number 1 on my list. That would be number 1. The best thing to do downtown is hit a Kings game, the coin op, and tipsy putt. What's tipsy putt? No privacies these days. Nope. None. At all. None. Maybe ride scooters through the streets. Maybe. Maybe. Possible, Yeah. Maybe, I wouldn't ride a scooter through the street, but then again, when I go to Bangkok and Thailand, I rode motorbikes in that crazy city when I'm there, and people would say that's the craziest thing you could do. And you know what? I might even tend to agree with them. Yeah. Yeah, that would be. Try riding a motorbike in Bangkok and let me know how that goes. It's very challenging. And I'll just give you one word of advice. Pay attention. Pay attention to Connor with Element Mortgage. If you are in the market to buy a home, sell a home, give him a call if you don't like using the QR code there. 916-505-1006. That's 916-505-1006. A guy you can trust with loads of experience. His team behind him, over 100 years of experience. That's Connor at Element Mortgage. Pick his brain on what he thinks of Scott Perry and the Kings. Sacramento product, knows the Sacramento market inside and out. Give him a call. Connor with Element Mortgage, 916-505-1006. Again, Scott Perry will be introduced at a press conference formally Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. All right? 10 a.m. 10 a.m. And we'll have reaction to it right here on If You Don't Like That. All right. What is the timeline of your appeal and under what grounds did they deny your lawsuit? Great question. My appeal will be filed either this week or early next week. I don't know what the timeline will be. My lawsuit was decided, according to the judge in federal court, on First Amendment grounds. And we feel that we have a very strong appeal, and I'm very much looking forward to it. And thank you for asking. Thank you for asking. Next travel destination. Next travel destination. Haven't thought of it yet. Haven't thought of it yet. All right, PK, what's going on, buddy?
What up? What up? What up, big dog? How you doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Kind of like reminiscing on everything as I'm watching these playoffs playing out. I respect you throughout the season. You've protected Sabonis, I think, to a degree, which I appreciate. And but let me ask you something. So my girlfriend so she works for the Mets, Major League Baseball for the Mets, and it kind of like clicked today to me as the ratings are going down for NBA finals. She's about to transfer. She's like considering to go into NHL. Do you think like do you think there's like, as far as like the ratings are concerned in general throughout the sports, what sport do you think is doing it well right now in your mind?
I'll get back to you in a minute because we have feedback. So I'll put you off and then I'll bring you right back on. Well, the NFL is king. The NFL is kings of TV ratings, and they always will be, and that doesn't change. So the NFL is number one. As far as hockey goes, the tournament that they had during the All-Star break was a tremendous success, and they had the highest hockey ratings that this country has seen in many, many, many years, particularly the United States versus Canada, four nations face-off. It was great. It was just a phenomenal. NBA ratings continued to decline, and I don't know. Baseball has gone down as well. But to answer your question, NFL is king. PK, go ahead.
Hey, but why is NBA like there's a feeling. I have a feeling that this NBA playoff is just kind of like crappy. Like I feel like the ratings are going to be crappy. It doesn't feel like I don't like in the past I had that feeling of just like rooting for teams. Why do you think it has like stepped off? Is it because players are getting injured? Maybe players get paid a lot of money during the season, and they when it comes down to like playing hard, they're like, oh, I already got my paycheck. I don't care anymore. Like it
Well,
just.
I'll answer your question, and again, because we have feedback, I've got to do it this way. Uh, a lot of the fans don't like the way the game's being played right now because it's a three-point shooting contest. The league became woke. That turned off a number of fans. A lot of the fans are tired of certain players and their acts, like John Morant, and I can go on with unfortunate incidents that continue to turn fans off. A lot of the comments by some of the NBA players have turned fans off. But in general, I think it's the style of game. It's a three-point shooting contest, PK, and fans don't really want to see that. They want to see basketball.
Do you think this playoff is like decent this year at all?
Well, I haven't had a big enough sample size to be able to answer that question. It's only been one weekend. Ask me that question, PK, in another 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay. All right, Grant. Thank you. Love you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate the phone call. I'll tell you this right now. If Cleveland and Oklahoma City play in the NBA Finals, it will be poorly, poorly viewed. It will be awful. All right? It will be really bad. It will be very bad. Like it will be a very low rated finals. Probably one of the worst that we've ever seen. That's for sure. That would be the case. That would be the case. Hey, don't forget about EDH Motors, Automotive Reimagined. David and Adam, two guys trying to do something different and better. If you're looking to sell your vehicle, you've got the information right there. Or if you want to buy, go to edhmotors.com. That's edhmotors.com and see for yourself their inventory and what they have available. And if you don't see what you're looking for, no problem. David and Adam, with their decades of automotive experience, will get it for you. That's what they do. And you'll take delivery at their beautiful auto lounge at the El Dorado Hills Town Center, which means you don't have to go to a dealership and deal with all of that. Again, it's a long overdue new concept. Just two guys trying to do something different and better. Get in touch with them. You got the information there, or edhmotors.com. That's El Dorado Hills Motors. EDH Motors, Automotive Reimagined. Get in touch with them. You'll be glad that you did. All right, don't forget, Wednesday at 10 a.m., Scott Perry with his introductory press conference. All right? and we'll have a complete reaction to it. Rhino will be all over it. I will do a show Wednesday evening to talk all about it. So that's coming up on Wednesday. We got a big day. Scott Perry will officially be introduced as the Kings general manager. And two hot topics I can tell you right now will be Doug Christie and his comments about Zach LaVine. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting. And as I said, if you missed it earlier in the show, I'm not sure that Scott Perry should be talking about anybody's lack of wins in postseason when you look at his career. All right. Because as I said, if you joined me late, when he was the head coach at Eastern Kentucky, he had a winning percentage of .238, 19-61. And prior to entering the 2021 season, he had no winning seasons, only one .500 season, and a lifetime win percentage of .328. So just be careful. Just be careful. I'm looking at some of your messages here. No update on DC as the head coach. I believe that would be forthcoming on Wednesday at Scott Perry's press conference, considering he is now the new Kings general manager, and it will be official on Wednesday at 10 in the morning. And if Doug is going to be retained, I would think Doug would be right alongside him. You might as well do it that way, right? I mean, if you're going to do it, that's the way it should be done. So Wednesday is going to be an interesting day. It's going to be an interesting day. Be very interesting to watch that press conference and see what Scott Perry, the new Kings general manager, has to say. All right, good game going on in Denver, game 2 of that series, and the Clippers lead 75-69. I saw the Knicks-Pistons series. No, I was watching hockey, actually. I did not. Well, I was watching the hockey games. I watched the Canadiens and the Capitals. I was not watching the Knicks and the Pistons. I'd rather watch. Give me Alex Ovechkin and the Canadiens in a game that goes into overtime 1,000 times over any other playoff game you can show me in the NBA. What do I think of the lack of decency on sports talk shows? Recently, WWE's Paul Heyman referenced Shannon Sharp's alleged sexual assault lawsuit and the reputation of ESPN. It's not just sports talk show. It's all over the country. It's on social media. It's everywhere. So it's not just on sports talk shows. NBA playoff now is not the same. I would agree with you. Perry's going to stick with Christie and see how this season goes. No, Vivek's going to stick with Christie, not Perry. No, Perry's not going to stick with Christie. And if he tells you that it's his choice, we know that he's just doing what he has to do. The same thing that Monty McNair had to go out and lie to you when he said that it was his decision to fire Mike Brown. I mean, come on now. Who do I want the Giants to select? Somebody that's going to be a really, really good football player. That's what I want. Do I think the Clippers could be a thing in the playoffs? No, because they have James Harden. That's why. I'm not when you get down to the biggest games in the playoffs, I am not a James Harden guy. This playoff is weak. It's tough to say, PK, because, we've only had 2 games and really 1 game in other series. So it's kind of early to talk about it's weak. They could develop into something really special. I mean, it's a little bit early to go in that direction. Only chance Kings have to improve is to get a different head coach. Doug is not ready yet. I said in my other comment, Vivek wants him. Sorry, I didn't see your other comment. Thank you for that. Wednesday's going to be an interesting day. I mean, it's going to be an interesting day. That's for sure, because I think we'll have a lot more clarity. And I listen, I think I speak for all of you. You want clarity, right? You want to know what the hell's going on. So, man, yes. Do I think the NBA will be popular when LeBron leaves and with Luka, Edwards, or someone else leading the game? I think the league's going to have a real issue when Steph Curry steps down with LeBron. I think that's going to be an issue. Absolutely. Am I still a big fan of former NBA player Jerry Grant? Of course, Jerry Grant. How could I not be a fan of Jerry Grant? Who is my surprise playoff team this year? That's a good question, Mike. I don't really think there is a surprise, unless you think you would put the Warriors in that category, and I wouldn't. But in the East, I think Boston's going to come out of the East. I guess a lot of people think Detroit's ready to make that leap. I'm not. We'll see. Timbo says Scott Perry is Vivek's new puppet. Can't wait for the Kings to trade all the youth again for an aging player that drops 40 in a game. Stay tuned. So we pretty much have no first-round pick. Man, this summer already not looking good. Not unless they get really, 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 really lucky in the lottery. They will not have a first-round pick unless they make a trade. How does a billionaire have such poor decision-making skills? Well, first of all, he's not a billionaire. And second of all, the amount of money doesn't really determine whether you make the right decision in a entity that is not the entity that you made your money in. In other words, like if I made a lot of money in one area and then I started to take control of a business in another area, they're different. You can't run one business the same way as your basketball team. Does not work that way. Obviously. Right? Proof is in the pudding. The numbers don't lie. Pistons are nice, but Celtics still top dog in the East till somebody can beat them 4 times and they have home court. Well, Cleveland has home court, not Boston. I don't know if you're aware of that. The Cleveland Cavaliers are the number 1 seed in the East. And I think Boston would beat Cleveland. That's my own opinion. All right, so tomorrow, Rhino with the Kings Court. I like this time slot. I like this. So tomorrow we'll do it again at 8 o'clock. I'm not sure about Wednesday. I'll converse with Rhino and see what we'll do there after Scott Perry's press conference. Thursday, I'll come on after the draft. I'm not going to come on during the draft. I think 8 o'clock will pretty much be past round 1. So we'll do that as well. All right? We'll do that as well. All right. Appreciate you. Thank you. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock, right back here. If you don't like that. Waiting for a better challenge for OKC. Can you imagine if we were playing them? Huh. Yeah, it would be ugly with a capital U. See you, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. Thanks very much. Bye-bye now.